Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are ready to do Gemini 7, which is a little bit odd, right? Because last one was Gemini 5. Now I did explain it in the last episode, but Gemini 6 was delayed due to a problem with the docking target vehicle. And Gemini 7 went up before Gemini 6, and then Gemini 6 rendezvoused with Gemini 7, and then went home, and then Gemini 7 went home. So that's about what we're going to do here, although we're going to be breaking it up, of course. So Gemini 5 here is going to be Gemini 7, and we're going to be launching this pretty much as is. We need to put this in orbit, and then we can get Gemini 6 launched. Is that going to be also this episode? Actually, we might have time to do that. We might have time to launch that also this episode. We might even have time to do the rendezvous this episode, which would be cool. Now, we're probably not going to do it in a smart way. That would require some, form of work. But that's probably not going to be what ends up happening. Throttle up, SAS on, and off we go with Jeb. And note that we're bringing Bill here. We don't actually have a reason to bring Bob, I don't think, at this point. So Bill is fine here. We can let him get some XP. Sounds great. Off we go. And we are ready to put this thing in orbit. I do want to replace this engine cluster, for sure. We definitely have an engine that we can upgrade that to, and that would be absolutely wondrous. And on top of that, we need to get enough science to be able to get our, what's it called? I've completely forgotten. Unmanned pod. There we go. Excellent. So we're going a bit quick here. We should probably start getting some form of gravity turn going. But we need to get ourselves some science. So the plan here is for Gemini 7, this particular craft. Actually, is it going to be this particular craft? Because we don't have Bob. We don't have Bob here. The plan was for Gemini 7 to dip up into high orbit and grab some science up there with our science with our Science Junior. That would have been the idea. But as it is, I don't know if that's going to end up being a thing. Or we could send Bob up with Gemini 6 and actually do a crew transfer. That is not something that they did in reality. That would be anachronistic. But that is an option. Or we could have Gemini 6 be the one that goes high, and Gemini 7 just remains in orbit. That might be the better way to go, in all honesty. So our apoapsis is at about 50 kilometers right now. We're still making our way slowly over towards the horizon here. I'm going to park about here. Okay, our apoapsis is plenty high. Let's head to the horizon. Okay, that engine didn't fire right away, but there we go. We'll position out over this way. This thing is not wanting to hold attitude, really. It's kind of wobbling all over. The SAS is not doing its job. Now it kind of is. I guess I just had to engage it and re-engage it. Okay, so as usual, we're going to be burning here to about 100 kilometers. We can see that our inclination is pretty high up, which I'm not shocked about. We actually want to be heading a bit this direction to fix our inclination. 2, 1-ish. We probably can't get it too much further. Yeah, this is about the best we're going to do. 0.3 degrees. Sure, it's good enough. So we're going to hop on over here. Our apoapsis is still about 91 kilometers. We're just targeting 100 for Gemini 7 here. 94. This feels so slow. We're in space now, so that's good for our thrust to weight. Or, I guess, our specific impulse, more specifically. 98 kilometers. We're a little slow horizontally, but that should be fine. Okay, 100 kilometers. Beautiful. So we're going to grab about right here. That's a little late. Can we move that guy on back? Thank you. And we're going to push out and circularize our orbit. Looks good. So that's going to be starting in about 1 minute, 15 seconds, a 540 meter per second burn. Cool. So we'll position here and warp on forward for that. 50 seconds, 40, 30, 20, 10, and 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Boy, this thing really doesn't want to sit here. Okay, there we go. We can physics warp some of this burn. We've got about 40 seconds to go. 20 seconds to go. 10 seconds, and let's just make our way on over here. There we go. 3, 2, 1, and it's probably good enough. We can push up that periapsis a little further, I suppose, but it's good enough. Okay, so here's Gemini 7 in orbit. Now, note that there's no real capacity for docking here, right? We did not put a docking adapter on the Mark 16 parachute. Let's head on back to the Space Center. We're going to leave that in orbit for right now. And we are going to grab ourselves Gemini 6 now. So we're definitely doing this in one episode. That'll be fine. I should then change the thumbnail to Gemini 7 and 6A. Okay. Oh boy, now I have to center it. This is a whole thing. Exciting. Okay, well, we made it back to the Space Center, so that's good. We can hop into the VAB, and we are going to modify 6A to have the docking adapter on it. So all we're going to do here, and we're going to have this be 6A. That's the nomenclature that they used, correct? I'm double checking that here. Project Gemini. And yes, that is the nomenclature that they used. Confirmed. Okay, so that's excellent. We're going to ditch the Mark 16 parachute, and we are going to put on a Clampotron Docking Port Junior right there at the top. We have nothing to dock it to because our docking vehicle did not properly deploy its fairing. Okay, so we're going to launch this guy, but we want to make sure we have the correct people aboard. Valentina and Bob is perfect. Okay, so we're going to launch that. And the question is, are we going to wait to launch this until we have a, like, decent conjunction? I kind of don't want to. So I think all we're going to do is we're going to put this into a 70-kilometer orbit, and we are going to utilize that. Yeah, that should be fine. So SAS on, throttle up, and off goes Gemini 6A. Apparently we can grab this material study? Sure. Actually, we shouldn't. We should actually reset that. We'll grab that on a later flight, because we want to save those pressure. Actually, we can grab it. We can grab it. There's nothing stopping us. We can reset that. What am I thinking? Okay, we'll keep that experiment. We collect it up here immediately. That will have to be reset, but that's accepted. That's acceptable, even. So we have a decent amount of vertical speed at this point. A little too much vertical speed, maybe. Let's go into orbital mode here. And we'll just make our way very slowly, and this is not all that slowly. We'll make our way rather quickly, actually, over towards orbital prograde. Cool. And we're going to park here in prograde. We'll let Valentina take over now that we are locked to orbital prograde. And the real question here is, are we actually pushing up our apoapsis? The answer is yes, so that is great. We're going to sit here for a while, pushing that apoapsis on up, getting nearly entirely horizontal speed at this point. And actually, I'm going to merge these together just because I feel like that feels better. There we go. We've only got about 8 seconds of burn time left here, and our apoapsis is not, in fact, the absolute best. Okay. Time to apoapsis is currently dropping. My main concern right now is that this is not... Well, we are increasing our orbital speed. Our apoapsis is quite low. There's no doubt about that. We have a lot of fuel in this thing. I feel like we were maybe a little too aggressive on that gravity turn, though. But honestly, I think we're okay. This is not going down all that much. It should be fine. Yeah, it's going up now. Okay, we're absolutely okay here. Beautiful. So we do absolutely need to get a fair amount more altitude. We're just going to burn prograde here, though. That's all we're going to do. We're going to be targeting about 75 kilometers, I think, just to have that little bit of safety margin. That should be okay. So that is 60 kilometers now. So we need about another 15 kilometers of altitude. This is mostly going into horizontal speed still, and that's exactly what we want. But we see that T minus to apoapsis continually increasing, and we're very pleased about that. That is absolutely magnificent. So we're going to be hitting an apoapsis height of 70 kilometers shortly. We've got plenty of delta V for all of our planned maneuvers. We're not concerned about that. 72 kilometers, 73, 74, and 75. Okay, we're cutting the engines there. And we are going to commence a burn around here to circularize that on out. It's not perfect, but it'll do. Well, we could move that back ever so slightly. There we go. Something about like that. So we need to start this burn allegedly in a minute and a half, but we're not in space yet. Let's physics warp on our way up, and let's align for this burn. Valentina, please stop being at prograde. Thank you. There we go. We've got about 45 seconds until this burn. We're still not in space. Okay, now we're in space and we know that we have about a minute. Not bad. So let's warp with regular warp rather than physics warp. 20 seconds, 10, and 3, 2, 1, 0 mark. Beautiful. That countdown was a little rushed, but it's all good. So we'll get ourselves into orbit. This is a lower orbit than our previous orbit, which is exactly what we're going for. We want to have differentials in our orbit so that we don't have to care about when we launch. Okay. And there we go. That'll do. That orbit is absolutely fine. So we'll set Gemini 7 as our target here. And then the question is, if we were to push up, say, our periapsis here, what would this end up looking like? Okay, that's not amazing. We probably need to do a few orbits, most likely. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty decent, actually. So sometime around here-ish, we would want to probably push this out a little bit further, maybe even toss in a slight amount of radial in this burn. That's 11 kilometers apart. Okay. That is close enough. We can definitely work from that. Yeah, we can do this. So that'll be okay. That's 31.4 meters per second. That burn will be in about an hour and a half. So in reality, they ranged from about 91 meters away to about 1 meter away. So they basically docked it, but they didn't actually dock it. So we're going to head on around here. We've got ourselves a few orbits to do, and at that speed, that's quite a thing. But we actually are done with our time warp here. And let's position ourselves for the burn. We did drift a fair amount. How are we doing on electric charge? We're doing fine. Of course, we have the fuel drain valve system, but I'm not going too hard on that. Okay. So position for the burn. It is a slightly more complex burn than some of the others, but it's not, particularly hard. Burn is going to be commencing in 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay. Just getting that last little bit of the burn done there. Cool. So that's 11 kilometers apart. At this point, all we're going to want to do is corrective burns. So I want to go into target mode. We can see that we have a fair amount of speed to work with here. So I'm going to want to, let's see, retrograde is pushed, correct? We want to push the retrograde node onto the target node. So we can see the target node's way over here, right? So we do need to do a corrective burn. So we're going to want to position somewhere around here, if I recall correctly. Yes, I do recall correctly. Beautiful. So we're doing a corrective burn here. We can see our relative speed towards the target is definitely dropping. We'll have to keep that a bit in mind. Okay. So for now, that's fine. And at this point, our periapsis is actually very low. Okay. We should be burning towards target, I feel like. Yes, I think that this is definitely the case. So we're going to do a corrective burn up this way now. We can see it's drifting off. We're currently flying high, which is really quite bad. Okay, let's raise up our periapsis a bit here. 67. Okay, that'll do for now. And we should warp on forward to around here. Of course, this is going to be kind of slow. We are in atmosphere right now, which is awkward. But we're not going to go down very far at all at this point. We've corrected that. We've got plenty of delta V for these maneuvers. I'm not concerned about it. I didn't expect this to pull us into Atmo, though. That's for sure. I guess I should have, though. So we need to get up a little closer here and do our correction up here is what needs to happen. So that's absolutely okay. And we're coming up out of the atmosphere at this point. Just waiting on that to come on up. And yeah, we know our relative speed to target is changing due to the atmosphere. That's completely fine for the moment. There we go. Now we're out of the atmosphere. So we'll warp to about here. And there's the craft in question right there. So it's currently about... It's actually getting further away right now. We definitely want to burn over towards the target at this moment. So I'm going to burn towards target, and we can just burn this way as a bit of a corrective burn until these line up. Cool. So we're burning towards target right now. We're going to be intercepting around the apoapsis. That looks good. We definitely have a periapsis that's very low, but we're going to head on up over here. What the heck? That changed on us wildly. Okay, where is it? Where's the target right now? There it is. So we need to go over to target retrograde. It is sailing on by us. Okay. Let's kill our relative speed. Beautiful. 1.2 meters per second separating us right now. Okay. So now we need to get some corrective burns rolling. So, well, not even corrective. We just need to head towards the target a little bit, and we can do some alterations with our RCS. So that'll be fine. I want to head over towards target here. And we will do those alterations with RCS. Okay, so over we go. We're going to go in at... That's only 1 meter per second. I feel like we can definitely bring this in a little bit better. 2.7 meters per second seems okay for right now. We will have to do some RCS correction, but that's completely okay. Beautiful. Let's warp on in. And we're keeping an eye on these two nodes. Using RCS here, I'm going to alter our trajectory. Which, of course, awkwardly enough also turns us. But that's fine for now. We'll get this turned back using our RCS, or not RCS, using our reaction wheel so that we're not adjusting our actual trajectory. There we go. Perfect. And we can do another slight correction here. There we go. Beautiful. So we're heading on in. We can warp in a little further. Maybe not quite that fast. Okay, 91 meters is our target position, of course. Changing our trajectory here. And then we're going to need to start slowing down a bit. So we're definitely going to do that. So we're going to turn on RCS here. And we're going to just brake with our RCS ever so slightly. 1 meter per second. Okay. Making a slight correction here again. Cool. So just bring this right on in. And we have to ask what our actual target position is. I have in the mission parameters that our target position is, in fact, to have this be somewhere around 90 meters. But like I said, in reality, they ranged from 90 to 1 meter. So I think that's relatively fine. Okay, let's break this on down. Kill the relative speed. There we go. And we're basically parked here. It's not exactly parked, but there we go. That's definitely close enough. I'm going to call that a fulfilled rendezvous. Fantastic. So that is the first rendezvous around Kerbin, making us 2 science. I'm going to have Bob EVA here, and Bob is going to climb on down over here, and we're going to restore the Science Junior. There we go. Excellent. So with that restored, we are then going to hop back in. And these guys are going to remain in orbit, but I'm going to pop this craft up to high orbit, I think. However, I think I might actually cut here, and this will just be the rendezvous portion of these 2 missions, because there's really 2 missions combined together, right? So we can do the rendezvous portion of these missions right now, which we've already done. And then we can send these guys on their mission to go grab Space High Science and come home, and then bring these guys home in the next episode. So it's still 1 episode per mission, it's just that these are a little bit bunched together. So I think that'll be absolutely fine. In that case, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to wrap up these 2 missions. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.